All right. Welcome to Bucketphoria. This is a basketball podcast presented by the Mafia Sports Report and Sports Dynasty. The playoffs are here. Alex, how you feeling?
Feels great to finally be here. It always feels like I don't know, at the end of the season always kind of feels a little drawn out because of how long it takes to get to the playoffs. But finally here, the playing games are over, and this is technically while we're recording this day 2 of the NBA playoffs because the first 4 games happened already yesterday.
Yeah, so game ones, the first two were pretty bad, to be honest, especially the second one. So I guess we're more so gonna we're gonna do our first round predictions, but how'd you like this Warriors game last night?
Oh, it was great. For De'Aaron Fox to have such a masterclass in his first game in the playoffs was nothing short of sensational, to say the least. And
Yeah,
it's like it's crazy too because the playoffs you never expect for anybody to step out. Like shout out to Malik Monk for dropping, I think it was 26. I think no, 32. It was
yeah.
32. And Trey Lyles hitting 4 threes off the bench, which I don't even know if Trey Lyles had more than 16 points during the regular season, but he got it in this playoff game and it helped.
Yeah, he most certainly did light that beam, and this series is looking to be a classic. But the premise of today's show is we're going to give our predictions for this first round in these NBA playoffs for the East and the West. Where do you want to start, Alex?
Real quick, Tommy, what's up? How you doing? And indeed, Casey's gone.
Yes, Casey is gone. Congrats, Tommy. That is awesome, man.
Except he's in front office now, so have fun with that.
Hey, let's see how that goes. But how do you want to start this?
Most of the boring issues is in the East, so let's just start off with that and strong.
Alrighty, so then we got the 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks against the 8th seed Chicago Bulls.
No,
I believe game 1 is.
No, it is not. It's Miami.
Oh no, Miami Heat. Miami Heat. I'm sorry, Miami Heat. I believe game 1 is today.
Yes,
but I'm gonna say, out of respect, I'll say the series ends in 5. I really want to say 4 because it looks like 2 completely different levels, 2 huge gaps between these teams. Man, there isn't really much to say. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a sweep.
I'm going with a sweep. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm a reference to playing games a decent amount for this team because that's like the last 2 games I've seen them play. That meant something for the Miami Heat, but they just looked absolutely terrible. Those even in the Bulls game when they actually won, it took a Max Strus 32-point game out of nowhere and Jimmy Butler to drag them to the finish line to barely beat a Chicago team that just sputtered in the last 5 minutes of the game. And now you got to deal with against the best player in the league and the best team in the league. Nah, I'm sorry. I just can't see them winning the game. Maybe they can take one, but that's all I can see them going from there.
Yeah, I guess that I'll give that one is maybe if Milwaukee has a bad night. Things like that do tend to happen. A team will just have one bad night, and maybe Miami could grab one. But yeah, I agree with you. Those playing games was a testament to just show where the Miami Heat is today. And to struggle that hard, honestly speaking, 9 times out of 10, they probably would lose to Chicago in that situation. They managed to get out of it. But to just get destroyed by Milwaukee, and like you said, the best player in the league, and honestly, they would beat them without Giannis. So this is quick and easy. Bucks advance.
Yeah, they would beat him without Giannis. I don't even think he needs to play in this one, to be honest.
Right. Okay, moving on to the 2-seeded Boston Celtics against the 7 seed Atlanta Hawks, who They actually played yesterday, and I think that game was perfect to just show how this series is going to go. I'm going with a sweep here.
I'm not. I'm going with this. I'm going with 5 because Atlanta does have that one game where they tend to play really well, and Boston also usually tends to have a game where they usually don't hit all their shots, mainly Jason Tatum. So I think off the strength of that, I think Atlanta gets a game here. But yeah, it's not looking good for Atlanta, especially they got dismantled yesterday by Boston. It was real bad. They were down by 30 at halftime.
Yeah, they were down by 30 at halftime, and I seen the coverage that they had in Trae Young, and I just feel like this is something that he's just always going to continue to see in the course of his career. It looks exactly the same as what Miami did to him. He just looked like he had a nightmare out there. And DeJounte Murray kind of seemed like the only one really to have life in this team. But I can see Trae Young just every night having a game like this against the Celtics team. I mean, he has to deal with Marcus Smart every night. This is just really bad. You know, maybe they can get one. Like you said, Boston sometimes like to fall into their old habits. I think we all know that. And maybe they'll miss some shots. And maybe Atlanta will make some. But this doesn't go past 5. I'm going to go with 4, but this doesn't go past 5.
Yeah, because, again, it's similar to what you said. And then just Marcus Smart, they got, like, if you switch off Marcus Smart, oh, there you go. You got Jaylen Brown on you. You try to switch off that. And next thing you know, you got Jason Tatum on you. And those are all really, really good defenders. So it's, yeah, again, not looking promising for them, but they were mid to begin with anyway. So this is kind of expected regardless.
Yeah, not a surprise here. But yeah, Boston moves on to round 2. Now we move on to the 3-seeded Philadelphia 76ers against the 6-seeded Brooklyn Nets. Now, we saw game 1, but I would say this game was interesting. Philadelphia had to hit, I believe, like 23s in this game.
Yeah, 21.
21, and James Harden hit 7 threes. So it was kind of a performance that's not sustainable. I'm going to go with Philly in 6 here, but I think there's a little concern. I wouldn't be surprised if this series were to get a little interesting. What do you think?
I'm sticking with my original prediction before, which was 6 and 5. But there is a world where, like, you know, their threes don't hit, and Mikal Bridges continue just this thing. Next thing you know, after game 4, it's tied 2-2 going back to Philadelphia. There is a slight concern that can happen. It's only game one end, so I can't really, you know, go off based off the only game I've seen where they hit 21 threes unexpectedly, which, again, isn't sustainable. So, and Jordan beat outside of game those calls that Jock Vaughn complained about, like, is that sustainable either? Probably because he is good at drawing fouls because not many people can guard him. But I'm gonna stick with 5 here. But if it goes to a 6, I'm more open to that happening as opposed to before the series started.
Right. What I saw, what was interesting was Vaughn had Embiid doubled. Now he still got 25, but it wasn't 35, right? He worked for that 25, and I would stay with him being doubled. They also don't have anyone from Mikal, and this is the reasons why we think that they would lose to Boston. I mean, Mikal just got that 30. I feel like he could do that every game against this particular 76ers team. So you got 5, I got 6, but I'm going to keep a close eye here. For example, if they were to steal game 2, I think this series could get a little interesting. But we're all in agreement here that 76ers move on to round 2. Okay.
Great.
Now, it gets a little spicy here. This is one of the more entertaining series, and maybe in the whole playoffs, to be honest with you. So we have the 4-seeded Cavaliers matched up against the 5th-seeded New York Knicks. And the Knicks took game 1. They kind of controlled the whole game and had the lead. I mean, Donovan Mitchell had to be like a hero for them to even come back. But I'm going to go with Cavs in 7. What do you got?
I got New York in 7. And Game had nothing to do with it. That was my prediction before the series even started. It's insane, really, because this is kind of my slight concern with the Cavaliers. They kind of have at times, it feels like they have a consistency problem. And again, Mitchell was absolutely amazing. The shots he was hitting with a degree of difficulty he was hitting them was just unbelievable. Garland, I would have liked to be more aggressive, but I thought he was fine. My main concern, really, at least for game 1, not much really Jarrett Allen, but the other big man and Evan Mobley. He was awful, to say the least. He got a lot of rebounds, but down the stretch, it felt like New York kept getting key offensive rebounds. But I mean, yeah, they got rebounded by 13. They only lost by 4, so that helps. And especially in the final possession, that I think that led to them winning when I forgot who missed shot. I think it was like Josh Hart or something like that. And Julius Randle outworked Evan Mobley to get the rebound, and that led to a next tool that pretty much won them the game, essentially.
But yeah, I agree with everything you said in that game. I agree with the Garland part 100%. I thought he was fine. I watched the game over. I looked at his stat sheet. He was fine, but maybe he should have got more aggressive, more so like Jalen Brunson did, which is probably why they won that game ultimately. Jalen Brunson took initiative and closed this game out, while Darius Garland kind of stood in the sidelines. Yeah, Evan Mobley just got outworked, man. I mean, in the rebound battles, I mean, in terms of physicality, Julius Randle won him over, and Josh Hart as well. Josh Hart got a couple offensive rebounds on him, and he wasn't really finishing his layups. Now, like you said, it was game 1. And I think this is going to be a long, long series filled with massive adjustments. It's interesting to see what will happen in game 2. I would like for the offense to be focused a lot more on Evan Mobley because I like his arsenal. I like his shot selections. All the shots he took in that game, I was fine with what he took. He just didn't knock him down.
Right.
It happens. It happens, right? Now, let's see what happens in game 2. But I do think if they lose game 2, I can't see Cleveland coming back to the Quicken Loans Arena and it's tied up. I think they'll be down 3-1, and I don't know if they could come back from that. So game 2, I feel, is a must-win game. What do you think?
I think if they lose this game, they're not coming back to Cleveland at all.
Ooh.
Okay. It might be sweet territory because I do got Cleveland taking a game of New York as of right now because it's only 1-0. You can come back from 1-0. 2-0 is a completely different animal, especially when you lose your first 2 home games. The only team I can remember doing that is the Clippers a few years ago when they beat the Mavericks the second time with Luka. And that's just something you can't just expect. You can't just expect. Okay, you dropped your first 2 games against the next team. Okay, now let's try to win some games at Madison Square Garden where we're down 0-2. That is a completely tall task for you to, do. And honestly speaking, yeah, for me, game will go to Josh Hart for the Knicks. This is what they traded for. At the end of the day, this is what they traded for. Hit some big shots. One of the best rebounding guard in the league. And for Cleveland side, Caris LeVert. Oh my goodness, the minutes he played was so horrible. Like missing easy layups, taking bad shots. It was annoying to look at.
Yeah, pretty much. Caris LeVert, I believe, was the worst player in the court in that game. I don't think that's far-fetched to say. I believe he ended with 1 of 7 from the field, and he didn't come back in the game, right?
If he did, he didn't play much in the second half. That's what I think happened. I don't think he played much.
Right. I mean, we're not surprised, but it's just disgusting to watch how he could just have games like this where he is a literal non-factor to this team. He's not going to make plays on defense to begin with. So for him to have a night like that, is just so detrimental to the team, which is what puts more pressure on a player like Evan Mobley, where he kind of has to, show up. It's funny how we say all these things and they barely lost the game. Now, Donovan Mitchell was phenomenal. That's why. But I could see your point as to saying if they go down 2-0, they might not even come back. Because to lose home court and you're down 2-0, and there isn't many teams that could do something like that. So this is a crazy series. This could get real ugly, or this could be very entertaining. We'll see how it goes.
I'll say this, and for the Knicks side as well, you survived an RJ Barrett bad game when he went 2 for 12. Julius Randle had a great first half, cold in the second half. He just came back with a messed up ankle. You let it go. So there are, and quickly went 0 for 5 as well. So and they still won. So there's still bright spots for New York. It's like, okay, we didn't play our best game, but it was enough to get the victory. So
right, and I have one more concern. I'm really worried about that Brunson switch off of Jetty. It looks like he's out on the island.
He has some good defensive stops on him, but the last few shots that Brunson just cooked them, that looked kind of bad.
Yeah, it was very bad. But that's what we got on that series. Now, this is kind of where things get a lot more entertaining. Let's move on to the Western Conference.
Yeah,
we're starting off.
I was gonna say, let's start with the series with the one that's least of debate, which is the 1-8 between Minnesota and Denver.
Okay, I agree. So Minnesota and Denver's playing. This is a Minnesota team. I kind of feel like they're still in a little disarray for the things that happened here. And this is a Denver team that's coming here with something to prove to this league. I say this goes in 5 in Denver's favor. I think Michael Porter is going to have a huge series here. I think Michael Porter is going to really, really, really play well here. Rudy Gobert is Rudy Gobert. I could see Jamal Murray throwing those pick and roll switches on him, as every scoring guard would do, and he's just going to get torched, let alone the 2-time MVP and Nikola Jokic, who's going to just orchestrate this game to his liking. I'm going to go 5. I don't think this is going to be too difficult. What do you think?
Yeah, Rudy Gobert usually doesn't have his best game when he plays Nikola Jokic either. He doesn't have the greatest track record when he plays him, for one. 2, this was interesting because Anthony Edwards in both playing games didn't look too hot, especially the first one. My goodness. Second one, he looked a lot better, but still a little cause for concern. Here's the thing, because they're gonna run the double big lineup, as you know, with Cat and Gobert. Here's what that is completely neutralized. Aaron Gordon is a very, very strong individual. He can move with the best of them. He's very, very mobile as well. So I can see Aaron Gordon for them being a massive issue. And Nikola Jokic can be Nikola Jokic. That's a given. I think this can go 6 because Minnesota is very, very annoying. With players like Kyle Anderson in them. But I think it goes 5 as well. Denver is clearly the superior team. Minnesota, it feels like the second half of the season they've been hanging on by a thread, but they just don't let go.
Right.
And I feel like them playing OKC instead of New Orleans was the best thing that could have possibly happened to them because OKC is the much better matchup for you since their interior defense is complete utter trash. So
yeah, I agree. I think they dodged a bullet here on not playing OKC. I'm not saying dodge a bullet as in they're gonna lose the series, but as in they probably would have came out the round limping or fatigued. You know what I'm saying? Because OKC and they're young and they can run, and I don't think they got no one for shy. Now Edwards, I think teams are starting to realize against this Minnesota team that if you kind of like trap him, you could kind of take him out the game since he's not the best of playmaker. I feel like the Lakers put that blueprint out there when they played that recent regular season game. I believe it was down in Minnesota where the Lakers kind of won convincingly. But like you said, I could see it going 6 because they're annoying, but I just think there's too much, and I just don't see it. I think Denver will revert back to like beginning of the season to halfway version of themselves. I believe that they were just coasting and they were just waiting for the playoffs and they didn't want no one to get hurt. And now they're ready for war. So I think, I think they got out of here in 5.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Moving on. Now we have the. You want to just keep going in order here, or
it might as well.
Easier to. Might as well. Okay. So now we have the 2-seeded Memphis Grizzlies against the 7th seeded Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this is probably one of the more interesting series in this entire first round. I'm going to go with Lakers in 6 here. I think that the Lakers have more size now here. I think the loss of Steven Adams will be too much for this team. I think Jaren Jackson is going to be in foul trouble against AD. If AD plays the way he's been playing pretty much this whole entire season, he's going to have a long night with AD. The Lakers are just deeper to me, too. They got Austin Reeves. They're going to have Vanderbilt. I believe they should put Vanderbilt on John Morant. I think we're a better defensive team right now. So I'm going to go Lakers in 6. What do you think?
It's interesting because I'm trying to look at the last time we played them when AD got punched in the nose and got a 30-20 game. And there's one thing I want to see real quick. If a certain somebody was playing, he was not. I think he tore his Achilles already. Yeah, he did. So yeah. The loss of Brandon Clark, right? I feel like it was going to really show here because Brandon Clark was always the type of player to get those hustle points, to get those offensive rebounds and put it back up. He's an overall really, really good player for the Grizzlies and a very important player for the Memphis Grizzlies. And losing, and they lost it for about a month now, and that I feel like this will be the series that really keys in on that because players like Wenyen Gabriel can get actual minutes because Memphis doesn't have anybody that's too tall. You feel me? And John Morant is going to do his thing. He usually plays very well when he plays these Laker cats. Desmond Bane is going to be interesting. To say least, I don't know how he'll perform. Dylan Brooks will be the irritant, and Triple J, I feel he's going to have a miserable series.
I'm sorry, not Dylan Brooks. Desmond Bane is interesting here. I feel like he could go one or two ways. I think he will either be really good or really bad.
And I think their success is going to heavily apply on which Desmond Bane they get. Because I think if they're really good, they'll win the series. But
he's bad, the X factor for sure.
Yeah.
He's Brandon Clark was essentially what Vanderbilt is for the Lakers.
Right.
You got the hustle points. You can kind of switch him on multiple players. He'll get some inside. He'll actually get a lot of putbacks. So I think the loss of Adams and the loss of Clark is more of a 7-game series when it's chippy, when it's gritty, when there's a scouting report, and you're kind of looking for answers and you don't have one because you got these two guys out and you got to play with what you got. So maybe in the first few games, these guys might be neck and neck, but I think the longer the series goes, the bigger the disadvantage that Memphis has. Since they don't have a lot of size. So ultimately speaking, I expect the Lakers to win this series just because of what they don't have.
On the Lakers side of things, right, it's interesting because it's like D'Angelo Russell Last year against the Grizzlies, miserable. Got benched for Jordan McLaughlin down the stretch. The playing game, miserable. He got benched for Dennis Schroeder down the stretch. You know where AD ruined the best photo of all time. But that's another thing for the Lakers. Like, is this something you have to worry about for D'Angelo Russell? Like, is he really gonna play this bad the whole entire playoff run, as long as it goes? Because it's concerning that the last playoff run he was in, he was really bad, and the playing game he played in, he was really bad as well. He was essentially unplayable. Luckily for the Lakers, Dennis Schroeder, who been in these situations before, can play on these conditions and can make the big play. As the Grizzlies, the first time we played them. So
yeah.
So yeah, like LeBron, I ain't gonna worry about LeBron. He won't do his thing. And Anthony Davis, I feel like should annihilate Jaren Jackson down low because Jaren Jackson is not a good rebounder. That's another thing that I feel like people are sleeping on. They have no rebounding like that. So
Nope.
Like, as the game goes on and with all the chips on the table, like the Lakers have two great rebounders in Jared Vanderbilt and AD that can play down the stretch. Who the Grizzlies really have?
Yeah. They used to have Steven Adams, and he's gone. The D'Lo point, that's a great point. I feel like this Lakers group, if let's say it comes to a point where he is unplayable, I feel like that's something this team can survive. If this was Dennis Schroeder, I feel like this will be a lot more alarming.
Right.
Right. D'Lo, okay, if he's bad, I feel like they could survive this because just put a little more into Austin Reeves and put in a little more into LeBron in terms of the handling the ball aspect and playing from the perimeter. Off the fact that they have Dennis Schroeder, I feel like that's why either D'Lo adds, or if he can't add, just take him out and we'll go from there. I don't think it's too detrimental to them if they take him out. Now, if he's bad and Darvin Ham leaves him in, that's where it becomes a huge problem.
Yeah, because Darvin Ham tends to, Darvin Ham's another person. Like, at times he tends to stick to his rotations way more than I would like for him to. But, like, as of recent, he does have shown, like, if you can't play, you can't play. He will sit you down for the other player if he gives the best chance to win. He did not play in the game against the Timberwolves. D'Angelo Russell was playing like garbage. Dennis Schroeder stepped up and he left them in down the stretch. And in overtime, he was the main person that was playing during that time. But series prediction,
right?
Lakers in 6. I feel like the longer the series goes, the more it favors Los Angeles. I think if Memphis needs to win this series, needs to take care of this quickly. Especially if it goes to a game 7. I know we haven't seen this in a while. You don't want to play LeBron in game 7.
No. You do not.
That's probably the best game 7 performer of all time.
Yeah, he's arguably the best game 7 player of all time. Yeah, if Memphis ideally wants to go to Los Angeles up 2-0, I think.
They need it.
Yeah. So Lakers in 6. We got Lakers in 6. Alrighty. Now we move on to the 3-seeded Sacramento Kings against the 6-seeded defending reigning champions, Golden State Warriors. I think this is going to be the best series in the whole playoffs, to be honest with you. I mean, game 1 was just electrifying. It was amazing. But
Stephen Curry trailed out his hit 4 threes off the bench. That was just, yeah.
That was ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. But and they were a shot away for overtime, man.
They were. Despite everything.
They were a shot away. Despite everything. So I'm gonna go with the defending champs here, man. I'm gonna go with the Warriors in 6. I hope this goes 7 for my entertainment. But I think this is gonna go 6. They adjust more. They adjust better. They have the better defense. They have the more of the cold-blooded players, especially in Steph Curry. I just think we've seen this before. We've seen this
Right,
before,
exactly.
and it's
Yeah.
more right. It's more a thing where I have to see this. I have to see them fall for me to believe it. If not, I'm just gonna keep picking them. So I got Warriors in 6 here, but it could go 7 easily. What you got?
All right. All right. So I want to talk about game one real quick. I want to talk about this really game real quick. So the Warriors had a 10-point lead around the third quarter. It looked like Sacramento was dead in the water. Then De'Aaron Fox started to heat up, getting those nice little floaters, getting to the free throw line, and then here's the thing that I feel like not many players do that he did that I like so much. He was able to heat up within the perimeter around the paint area in the mid range. Then in the fourth quarter, extended his range to see what he got, and he was knocking that some bitch down from three, going 4 for 8 from three. And statistically, he is the best fourth quarter player this season. It is De'Aaron Fox. So them getting to the line a lot in the fourth quarter helped them a lot because he kept attacking. Something that in the fourth quarter, Golden State did not do, by the way. Especially Andrew Wiggins, who in the first half, amazing. Second half, kept settling for threes, kept missing them, which I don't understand why, if you haven't played in a while, that is what you're doing. Especially when you're not a knockdown three-point shooter. You can hit the three, but you're not Stephen Clay. That's not who Andrew Wiggins is. But Sabonis and Herter gotta be better. They were absolutely disgusting in this game. Sabonis got 16 rebounds. That helps, but he gotta be better. At least on the scoring end of it, because you cannot rely on Malik Monk to put up 32 points every game. Listen, as
That's
Lakers
unacceptable,
fans,
man.
as a Lakers fan, we had Malik Monk, and I liked Malik Monk. Don't get me wrong; he was one of the few players in that last season's team I actually liked. But the thing is, what Malik Monk is, he can get you 30, he can get you 5. He's not consistent at all. That's just the type of player he is. Solid player, but that's just what he is. And Golden State's case, again, it's game one. You let it slip. It's cool. Whatever. And this is with how loud Sacramento is, too, for the first playoff game. So it kind of had like a bit of a college atmosphere to it. Like they was going to win this game more than likely. The way it happened was unacceptable, but they won. It is what it is. So my prediction, I'm going to Golden State in 6 as well. I think Sacramento takes the next game and then drops 4 straight. That's what I think is going to happen.
It's funny because I got the same thing. I think Sacramento goes into Golden State up 2-0 and they don't win another game. I mean, the playoffs is a different animal, and it's all about adjustments, man. And as of right now, in these first 2 games, Sacramento has the momentum. Sacramento has all the energy, especially with that crowd. It definitely feels like KD's OKC. That's what it kind of feels like. It feels damn near impossible to win in that building right now. But if there's any team that could do that, it's the Golden State Warriors. But after they snatch their momentum back at home, they'll come back to Sacramento, and I think they'll take those games. With Sabonis, I think people fail to realize just how good Kevon Looney is, especially in the rim protection, as well as having Draymond there. It's hard to score on these guys, man. Especially when it's the playoffs. It's hard to score on Looney, man. It's hard to score on him. He's a really good rim protector. So I think he's going to struggle in this series. Kevin Huerter, he's going to be the reason why they don't take another game, I think. After it goes back to Golden State, I think he's just going to be what Kyle Korver was for the Cavaliers in the finals. I think that's what's going to happen with him. He's not going to do anything, right? De'Aaron Fox is just great. And I think people is going to finally realize how great he's pretty much always been. He's one of the more consistent players in this league. I mean, was it 2 years ago? I think he averaged like 28 and no one batted an eye.
It was 2-3 years ago. So like he averaged at least 25 points. He was great, but nobody cared. You're coming out.
Exactly. So this is a player that's always been great, and he's always been one of the top point guards in the league. And people's going to finally realize that now how good he really is and how great he is from that. I mean, that mid-range is just automatic, man. So, yeah, this is just fun, man. I mean, that game was so much fun. If you're an NBA fan, please find the time to watch this Warrior series against Sacramento Kings. It is amazing to watch. It's great basketball. But yeah, we're in the same thing here. Down 2-0. Everyone's gonna say the Warriors are done. Everyone's gonna say the dynasty is over. And then they're gonna win 4 straight and take this series and show everyone why they've been to so many finals, why they were the defending champions, and why you should never doubt them, especially Steph Curry. I think he's going for like 45 in the next game.
Yeah. Yeah, like the one thing I would never do is count out the defending champions. They have regressed most definitely this year, but still, I'm like, I will never count them out until I see them. I'll see the fall for the other team earlier than it's supposed to. Then it's like, okay, they might be done, but I just can't see that happening, at least not yet, to this young Kings team. Good team, by the way. I just think,
Great team.
I think a certain player, like Kevin Huerter. Well, I think down the stretch, correct me if I'm wrong, I think down the stretch of this season, this was more the norm. Not this bad, but like he struggled.
He's pretty much been very underwhelming since that 3-point contest.
What, he had 8 points?
Yeah. He's been underwhelming since that 3-point contest. He has, and I'm glad you know why I got that face. But yeah, again, he's Kyle Korver, man. That's pretty much what he is. He's Kyle Korver. And when you know how to guard that, he's pretty much a non-factor to the team. And that's what he's going to continue to be. Now, I'm sure Mike Brown knows this. So I wonder if he will make an adjustment and give a boost to Davion Mitchell. Because the longer the series goes, Golden State is going to rely on Kevin Huerter not being able to find an opening. And then they're going to attack him. So can Mike Brown make this adjustment? He knows this team. I'm sure he knows them very well. Can he counter them? This is also going to be another chess match as well. So it'll be interesting to see what Mike Brown will do going forward if he can't find a way for Kevin Huerter to get in this series.
He's been in the game for a long time, man. He's been coaching in this league for a very, very long time. I'll say this. He and especially he knows his team very well. He just got to find ways to attack. When Jordan Poole's on the court, you got to make sure he's a complete non-factor, because when Jordan Poole gets hot, it's damn near over. He kind of got that Clay syndrome, it feels like. And you gotta make sure you don't have to rely on De'Aaron Fox to drop 40 every single game. It's nice when it happens, but that's something you want to rely on a game-to-game basis.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's an unrealistic thing to expect from a player.
Right.
For him to average 35, especially against Golden State. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. I think this is going to be the best series out here, man. I hope it goes 7. But let's move on to the last series of this first round matchup. It is the 4-seeded Phoenix Suns against the 5th-seeded Los Angeles Clippers. Now, this is an interesting one. I've been thinking long and hard here. I'm going to go with the Clippers here, man. I'm going to go with the Clippers in 7. And I say 7 because there's no Paul George, right? Can he come back sometime in the series?
I don't think so, actually.
You don't think so, right? So, now, if this was Paul George, I would have been like, I got Clippers in 5, and I would have felt very strong. 6. I would have felt very strongly about this. But since he's out, even though he's out, they are the way deeper team. I feel like in terms of matchup, this is probably the worst team for Phoenix to play because they have so many just bodies compared to Phoenix not having them. I can't see how they contain Norman Powell here. I just can't see it. I feel like he's going to average 20 plus in this series. I feel like Kawhi is going to be great here. Now, how will Ayton play here? I think he's the X factor here. He has to dominate. Now, will he? I don't think so. But ultimately, I'm going to go. I think Kevin Durant and Kawhi cancel each other out. But it's the other guys. It's Powell. It's Eric Gordon. It's Terrence Mann. And it's Bones Highland. I think these guys are going to overwhelm this team in this final game, in Game 7. And I'm going to go with Clippers. I know before the playoffs started, I had Phoenix because Paul George was out. I changed my mind. I'm going Clippers in 7.
I'm going Phoenix in 6. I think with the loss of Paul George, I think it's going to be too much for them to overcome. And there's also a variable for the Clippers that you also have to rely on, and his name is Russell Westbrook. Like down the stretch of the regular season, played pretty well. He looked pretty good, but is this something you want to continuously rely on? He's one of the worst players to rely on in these type of situations, to be honest. It is him. And listen,
He is.
The Clippers do got some solid depth. Norman Powell will have to be huge here, but it's like Durant against Kawhi. Durant usually gets the better of him, which is Kevin Durant. No shame in that. He's just him. Mm-hmm. And it's insane because I feel like Chris Paul, what he will just do is, depending on who, and no matter who's the matchup here, is he Zubac, try to force the switch, have Zubac guard him, and then attack the pick and roll, especially on Devin Booker as well. Like, get those easy shots in the mid range. I think it'll really depend on if the Clippers can hit the threes or not, because they are a high volume 3-point shooting team at the end of the day. So it'll have to fall on them. Like if Eric Gordon, I'm assuming against some minutes here. If Eric Gordon hits his threes, if Batum hits his threes, or hell, even Kawhi hits his threes, I think they'll be fine. But I don't know. It's interesting because I feel like if Paul George is here, I'll confidently say Clippers 6, they getting it done here. But since they played the Phoenix Suns, when you play the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs, someone has to be handicapped. Like
that's what feels like it's the norm. The norm is
So that's the 6 of 7 series that they're playing someone who's and they're not healthy. That's the 6th time, and their existence out of the 7 series. The only series they didn't play anybody healthy was when they played. When they did play someone completely healthy, it was Dallas when Luka embarrassed their franchise in the Game 7. But
he did.
There. So yeah, Suns in 6. They move on to face Denver, and hopefully Denver can stay healthy and can actually win. They can actually be taking my phone.
Right. What's interesting here is I think I feel you on that Zubac point. I feel you. But I think if it becomes a problem and they switch small, I feel like Clippers might win it out in the small ball. And now that I think that all depends on Batum if he's hitting those threes, because I know what he's going to do defensively. But I think if he's hitting those threes, I think they win it out on the small ball.
I see what you're saying. No, I think that makes sense. But Aiden usually guard has some more defense on him. In terms of the scoring aspect, he's usually fine. He does take advantage of smaller matchups usually. My thing is why that could be troubling, at least for Phoenix anyways, why that could be troubling is the rebounding battle. Because Aiden, as big as he is not that good of a rebounder. So Batum can outwork him, or Covington, if they decide to play him, can outwork him. It's a complete possibility. And there's not Plumlee, by the way, if they want to go to that, see how that turns out.
He's a lot more agile, so
it depends. I don't know. I can see a lot of different things happening, by the way, since that Paul George out. I can see a lot of things happening. If the Clippers win this series, I wouldn't be surprised, but it was like, damn. Durant still can't do anything like this.
Yeah, this is with Paul George out, this is a very interesting series. I can't wait for it to start.
Yeah, that's the third game of the night. I think it's after the Bucks game, which I don't think we home, thankfully.
Lakers, Bucks,
I think it's Suns
Phoenix, and Nuggets. Yeah, that's the lineup for today.
Yeah, first game starts at 3 Eastern time.
Yeah. But yeah, these are our predictions. Is there anything else you want to add?
Not really. Like the only thing I could really say is like for like as much it has some to play a little bit, not really, but the playing tournament again continuously shows why it's been an absolute success. Like time and time again, we always have these banger games over and over again. Like I feel like the second playing game for the West is one of the few times the West didn't deliver, but it still got the two games. You know, as bad as that Timberwolves and Lakers game felt, like it was close, it was exciting. So
It was.
You got that, and the Thunder and Pelicans game was really, really good as well.
That game was awesome, man. I mean, this playing it's never gonna go away, bro. It continues to have classics. Why would they, in a business aspect, why would they take it out if they continue to have these entertaining games? And there's just no reason to take it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
all right. That'll be all, guys. We covered the whole first round. We'll be back next Thursday with the usual as norm. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed these playoffs. I'm enjoying it so much so far. I hope every game is like the last two of last night.
Yep, staying here, and as always, be sure to support Sports Dynasty and Mafia Sports Report. Enjoy the playoffs. Go Lakers, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.